Alright, so in today's video, we're going to be reacting to a video by Chinese historian. I really like his content because, I don't know, something about his, well, it's probably because it's related to dating and everything, and, you know, how the modern dating scene in China it is and everything, you know, because, you know, Chinese women, they're very beautiful. They're very beautiful, very attractive and everything. So yeah, and then one thing he made a video on is about the attractive levels of Asian women and everything. Of, you know, Chinese, specifically Asian women. And the main question he asks is why Asian women don't have cakes and melons like white, black, or Latin women. Latinas. You know, it's like the big booty Latinas. Trump need to not, don't deport them, Trump, don't deport them. So yeah, we're gonna be reacting to his video. All credit goes to him, Chinese historian. Yes, I know this is an older video, back in October 1st of 2025, but this video got my attention and I just wanted to give my own opinions in regarding his opinions on what about certain races of women not having, you know, big butts, so and nice, you know, melon. Otherwise, let's get started. Like, comment, subscribe.
Alright, folks. So I'm sure a lot of you guys have thought about this topic in the past before. So when you look at a typical Asian woman, right? How come these Asian girls, how come they don't have these weapons of mass destruction? Or how come when you look at an Asian woman from behind, how come these Asian women, they can't have the booty of a black woman, let's say? And yes, obviously there are exceptions, and people bring up, you know, actresses like Hitomi Tanaka, but you know,
who was that? Hold up. Who? Hatsumi Tanaka. Hold on, let me look her up real quick. Oh wow, I did not think she would be a certain. Yeah, I didn't think that. Well, let's see what she looks like. Okay, it looks like this is her right here. I guess she's an exception of the rule of, you know, Asian women.
You're looking at less than 1% of the Asian
1% of the Asian female population.
Well, I would say for the most part, I mentioned this before, there's a public shaming in countries like China where they shame people for being fat. It's just that, you know, women who are like this, women who have booties that's like this, it's not generally viewed as a standard of beauty in countries like China. They usually like their women to be small, to be petite. They like small noses, they like small lips, and they like their woman to be as skinny as possible. So, so the vast majority of women, they will try to avoid growing too much meat in these areas. And also, yeah, it's mostly, I would say, genetics, because I don't think Asians, they can just grow up to be that size. Well,
Nope.
with the exception of the sumo wrestlers.
They're fat.
The sumo wrestlers, they're extreme cases. So it's just that, you know, if you believe there's a higher power...
There is.
Please, I'm not saying that, oh, you know, God is a white person. I'm talking about a omnipotent being. Let's say, you know, if you do believe in a higher power... So when God created us as humans, he made sure that not a single ethnic group can have everything. I mean, just imagine if, you know, when God created Asian men, and let's say if the average height of an Asian man was 6'2" and 225, and all Asian guys were absolutely shredded, and they were just freaks of nature, and they were dominating every single
Beautiful man. Beautiful male.
I mean, yeah, Asians will be absolutely unstoppable. I mean, colonization
here on
these
Earth,
Asian countries would have never happened. White men would have never dominated the Earth. They would all have gotten destroyed by the Asians. Well, it's just like I said, that you can't have everything, right? Either you can conquer the physical world, or you can conquer the academic world. There's no humans on Earth that can conquer both. Just imagine it like this, right? If Asian women actually had, you know, these weapons of mass destruction, if they had this S-curve, yeah, is that what you want to call it, right? So they will be absolutely unstoppable. I mean, they would have absolute zero competition. You know, over 4 billion men on Earth, right? They will all be competing over every single Asian woman. It's just like I mentioned before, right? I said, you know, the white gene is the standard for beauty. But however, I did mention before, right, the reason why so many white men, they want to go after Asian women is because, well, for the most part, Asian women will have eternal youth and beauty. There was one cashier that I thought at first that she was my age, the one I was working with, and so I was like, oh, this Chinese girl, she seems to be pretty nice. Maybe she's a university student, possibly doing her masters. I thought she was between 20 to 25. I didn't realize one day until her daughter actually came to the
Mm-hmm.
store. She was doing some grocery shopping with
Uh-huh.
her mom. And I found out that she was actually 50 years old.
50 years
Honestly, I
old.
thought she was between 20 to 25. And
That's really
I
good.
also recorded the interview with another Chinese woman, and we sat down in the classroom, and I uploaded that 15-minute video a couple months back. Yeah, first time I saw her, I thought she was like between 20 to 25. And I found out that she's actually a mother of two. So she
Dang.
has a 15-year-old son, and she also has a 8-year-old daughter. So she's actually 43 years old. Yeah,
Wow.
you guys can go back to watch that interview. So that's the thing about the Asian woman. So I think it's kind of like a trade-off. So if you actually want to have these, you will age significantly faster. And if you're born into a small petite build where you have no chest or no ass, in exchange you will get the eternal beauty. The vast majority of white women, right? I've lived in Canada for over 20 years. I've
Mm-hmm.
seen plenty of white women, certainly. So yeah, by the time they hit 30, they're absolutely done. Just
Oh
look at
man.
someone like Brooke Shields. I mean, prime Brooke
Oh my
Shields was
gosh.
one of the hottest women that has ever lived. She looks absolutely terrible now. Look at Denise Richards, right, when she was with Charlie Sheen in her prime years. Like, Denise
Oh my.
Richards, 10 out of 10. Look at her now. Looks like absolute
She's indeed
garbage.
aged.
And she's supporting her daughter on OnlyFans. So that is the problem with, I would say, yeah, over 99% of white women. There are certainly exceptions. Someone like Marissa Tomei. I guess that's what happens when you
She's
make a lot
pretty,
of money, right?
but
When you're a
she's
millionaire,
old.
you get to take care of
She's
yourself.
aging.
But for 99% of them, after they turn 30, they're absolutely done. I've
Yeah.
also noticed this. So I'll cover this more in future videos. In China, there's something called sitting for a month after giving birth. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
that actually helps. Because what I've noticed is, not just Chinese women, with any Asian woman, after they give birth to a child and you look at them a month later, you can't even tell. Looks the exact same thing. And
That's
many of
really
these
good.
women, they can still pass as, 20-year-old virgins after giving
Virgins.
birth to their child. But however, it's very, very different for a white woman.
Uh-oh.
So what happens is after a white woman has given birth, so oftentimes something I notice is that the biggest change is in the hips. So let's say if this white girl, she's completely symmetrical like this, right, before getting pregnant, before giving birth to her first child. However,
Hour.
right after giving birth, her waist before it was like this, now it's stretched out like this. Just she's going completely horizontal. It looks
Completely
more like
horizontal.
a Dungeness crab. So yeah, perhaps it's diet, perhaps it's genetics. And so yeah, that's what I've noticed. And even for the white women who do not get married, who do not have children, usually after the age of 30, their hips will start to look like this.
Mm.
So yeah, and I think that is the reason why you see so many of these Western men going after Asian women.
Yeah.
However, vice versa, you don't see it as much because yeah, so many of these Asian guys, they realize, well, maybe these white women in their prime years, when they're 20, 22, 24, they're some of the most beautiful women on earth. But as soon as they turn 30, 80% of them they're going to look like witches from the Salem witch trials.
Oh dang.
And it's just like what I said. If you believe in a higher power, which I absolutely do believe that there's a higher power, there's a god out there. In China, they call it Shangdi. This omnipotent being. When he was creating humans, and he had to make sure that to be fair to everybody. Because imagine if white women actually aged like Asian women, and if they can still look drop dead gorgeous when they're 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60. White women would be absolutely unstoppable. It's just that nobody can have everything, right? Just
That's right.
Look at for example, at a lot of people say, "Oh, Asian guys, you guys got to hit the gym, got to get in shape, got to work on yourself, become a giga chad." Well, physically, for the vast majority of the Asian men, it's impossible. For example, look at China. China has over 700 million men. China is almost never in the World Cup. So for 2026, they actually expanded the tournament to 48 countries. So a country with over 700 million people. And they can't even compete with a small country, let's say Norway, right? Norway has only 5 million people, yet they can produce someone like Erling Haaland, was absolute freak of nature, right? But yeah, try to search up any professional Chinese soccer players, any in La Liga or Premier League, or playing in Germany or Italy or in France or in any other top European leagues. Absolutely none. It's just that, for Asian men, conquering the physical world is almost impossible. So instead, their only option is to conquer the intellectual world. Nobody in this world can have both. For example, look at some of the smartest people that has ever lived. Look at Albert Einstein. I mean, Albert Einstein, if you just look at him purely based on physicality, right, Albert Einstein is definitely not a GYATT. Look at Stephen Hawking, who I personally believe is actually the smartest human that has ever lived. But I'm sorry, but look at what happened to Stephen Hawking. Look at his condition. And this is what I mean. When you completely max out one side of all of your attributes, when you completely max out the intellectual side, so that means that your physical side is going to be pretty much down to zero. And yeah. If you guys are a little bit of fan of Chinese history about the the Three Kingdoms,
that I don't know about,
romance of the Three Kingdoms, I'm sure everybody will know that there was this person, so Lu Bu. So Lu Bu is the most legendary warrior from the Three Kingdoms. So in 2025, so he would be the equivalent of someone, let's say if you're playing NBA 2K, it would be the equivalent of someone being a 99 overall, or if you're playing FIFA, right, it would be the equivalent of using a card, let's say of a prime Ronaldo or a prime Messi. So Lu Bu was absolutely unstoppable on the battlefield during the Three Kingdoms. So this guy has completely maxed out his
auto change.
It's like 99
everybody's
overall,
back.
99 strength, 99 endurance, 99 physicality. But guess what? His intellectual side has been completely reduced to zero. It's 100% nerfed, right? So this guy was unbeatable on the battlefield. But what happened in the end? And so his enemies tried to seduce him. He said that, oh, I have a super hot Chinese daughter.
Of course.
And if you just join my side, you can do whatever you want with her. And Lu Bu, just being a complete dumbass, he's like, oh my god,
simping.
This Chinese girl, she's so hot. I'm going to do all kinds of stuff to her. And then Lu Bu gets betrayed. Then he gets killed. He gets stabbed from the back. So this is what I mean, right?
Simping.
No person on earth can have both. Either you conquer the physical world or you conquer the intellectual world. So I believe that, the fact that, 98% of Asian women, they're just 100% flat. They don't really have great curves. It's all genetics. It doesn't matter how hard they try to work on their body. It's not really going to change that much because, when God created humans, he had to make sure that he had to be fair. For example, when he created white women, he had to make sure that after the age of 30, 90% of white women, they will go complete downhill like this. But in exchange, these Asian women, they cannot have bodies like a white woman or black woman or Latin woman. And he had to be fair to everybody. And no person on earth can have absolutely everything.
Exactly.
But, I mean, for the long term, it's probably better to have the body of an Asian woman. Let's say, if you were a woman who was 100% blessed, right up here, right? It might be good when you're young, but after you reach a certain age, let's say after you turn 40, when things are no longer pointing in the right direction, and when your chest becomes extremely saggy, and when everything becomes loose, I mean, by that point, it is no longer a blessing. It's
beauty fades.
A curse.
The curse.
Yeah, I've seen many stories over the years that I've seen many of these Western women where they talk about getting a breast reduction surgery because as you get older, everything's going to be so much harder for you.
It will.
And I definitely want to elaborate on this point, but I don't want to make this video too long because the next upload on this channel, I will come back to the topic of how white men subjugated and dominated Asian women throughout the world post World War II. So I will elaborate
the
on
passport
this
bro
topic,
stuff
in the next video. I want to thank you guys so much for clicking on this video and watching it all the way until the end. And if you guys have enjoyed the contents of this video, please consider subscribing to this channel and hitting the notification button. So and I will see you guys back on this channel on Friday.
Always do it on my own, so I gotta get through it. And the only thing I know,
I am so not used to that song he plays at the end of his videos being that slow, because usually I listen to his videos at work or whatever when I'm working on something, and then it be, what you call it, a little sped up. Alright, so I watched this video of why Asian women don't have cake / melons like black white and Latino women, the big booty Latinas. So yeah. So basically, I got some notes. Let me take a look at them. Firstly, we need to start by the fact that the culture, because culture plays a role. The society plays a huge role on why people make the decisions they do. Okay. Well, I'm not gonna say unfortunately, but for both fortunately and unfortunately, when society makes unwritten rules, they gotta follow it, okay? And one thing Asian countries tend to do is, like their standards of beauty is being skinny, like he said. Like their standard of beauty being skinny. And in my experience of looking around and seeing every Asian person, most of them, like a good number of them, are usually skinny, alright? They're usually skinny. That's just the thing, okay? Especially if you're a female, because women in general, alright? Yeah, women in general. All right, women. Difference between a female and a woman, okay? Even though they are the same thing in other regards, but the way how women work, all right? They need some sort of community. They work in pairs. They always work in together. You don't see a loner female like that, all right? There's no such thing of a femcel, all right? So, what's the first thing a girl do whenever she likes to do? She tells her bestie, all right? She tells her bestie. All right, and what's the first thing you do when she I don't know, look at my makeup or whatever. She always want to compare herself to the other female. All right, to make sure she looks pretty. All right, yeah, she always compare and contrast. So that's just a thing that I guess they do in China and Asian countries, they just do that. So yeah, now talking about male beauty. All right, like he did mention something about male beauty, which I do have some controversies with this, but men, like that's the huge difference between us men and women. All right, females, they are born with their value, which is their beauty, their looks. Males, we're not. All right, we have to work super hard. All right, we have to work super hard, unless you're a Chad. All right, Chad or Tyrone. Okay, black pill, but I'm not trying to get there right now. But us men, we really have to really do stuff in order to be seen as beautiful. All right, when you we really need to work, all right? And then the day, because women, they operate based on, they don't really pay too much attention on looks. I mean, they do, huge factor, black pill, but still though, men, we have to work, all right? We have to work, because at the end of the day, what good is a Chad being so attractive and he's in his 40s and got no accomplishments? No matter what, he will always be expected to settle down and provide for the community and die for the community, etc. So yeah, but this is the thing. And women did this themselves, all right? They the ones keep wearing makeup. If men are so ugly, that means we always have room to improve. If women are so perfect in their beauty, that means their beauty is done. That's it. It only gets worse. For us men, we get better. So for me, my theory goes, men, we are indeed very beautiful. Males, beautiful. After all, we were created in the image of God, and female was created in the image of man. The Bible said it, not me. I'm just the messenger. So, men are beautiful by default. Women are an extension of male beauty. So, hey, the Bible said it, not me. Hey, boy, how you doing? Stop biting me. This dog is always biting me. Intellectual versus physical conquering. All right. So, he mentioned something about, when it comes to races and everything, because out, boy, ouch, stop. The thing he mentioned is, throughout history, white men, they have always conquered the world, when it comes to, because like, for example, Christopher Columbus, he conquered America, all right? The land of America, I don't know, apparently they don't got all the physical things or whatever, all the physiques and everything. So, Asians, the trend is Asians are super smart, right? The Asians are super smart. But the thing is, their society pushed for Asians to be super smart, okay? To work so hard and everything, because that's just their culture and everything. So, I guess if you look at, stop, boy, you scratched me and it hurt. I don't really have a lot of, to think about it, but otherwise the fact that, hey, often when it comes to college students, a lot of Asians tend to go, all right? And, whites are probably next in line, but I don't know. Let me just move on. Now, what would I say is best? Intellectual conquering or physical conquering? Well, the easy answer is intellectual conquering. Yeah, the easy answer is intellectual conquering for me. I'm not gonna get too much in the hard answer, but yeah. Asians, they look young. Very true, yes, indeed, that's great. But, me personally, like, I can see beyond this. I to me, I believe I can see behind the skin. All right, I can see the age behind the skin. Yes, we may have some women that are indeed in their 40s and they still look young. That's cool, great. Even if they're not Asian women, because that's very common with Asians. That's very common with Asians. But that's the thing. Me, I personally believe I can see beyond that. I can see beyond that. I can see the age in people now. I can see the age even in myself now. So yeah, it's just the way it is, you know. I don't know. That's just the way it is, you know. But it's good. It's good that everybody have those great features. They have slightly thicker skin or whatever. But I can see it. That's all I can say. I can see the age in these people. I can see it. So. And they say black don't crack. But me, I can definitely see the crack. I can definitely see the crack. So yeah, I guess I'm gonna conclude the video on these few things as well, because I know I'm over here talking real long, and this boy is over here being really annoying. All right, you see that? You being super annoying. But anyways, what race of women has the biggest melons? Melons and, you know, and butt, whatever. Well, in my experience, I mean, yeah, I do somewhat look at, you know, check women out, you know, everything. I kind of do. But the thing, oh my gosh, it's kind of hard to explain, but wait, stop. It's kind of hard to explain, but if I was to rate, you know, because ass shape versus ass size, okay, that's the thing. Black women, they tend to have more more size and not the shape. All right, the same thing applies to white women and Latino women. But me, I really can't put a specific race. Really can't be a specific race on which race of women has the biggest butts. The stereotype is black women do, but in my experience, no, I have to highly disagree with that. It's common, especially with the African genes and all that stuff. But I don't know. I don't even prefer black women, so I guess I don't know. For me, it's white men. But I just don't like big butts. Okay, I just don't like big butts. I'm sorry. I'm just not sorry. I'm just not the stereotypical black male, okay? So, whatever. I don't know. Ass shape is very important. Ass shape is very important. Right, boy? Right, boy, it is? Yeah. So, then, these are the final things. And it's going to end with biblical form, okay? So, the curse of death. The reason why we age to begin with, because our beauty is always fading. Our beauty is fading. Looks are very temporary. It doesn't matter if you have the good genes or not, okay? The black don't crack genes or Asian genes or not. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Either way, we're going to die. We are cursed. We are going to die one day. So, by losing our looks, that means we're going we're about to be 6 foot below. We're about to be 6 foot below, and because of that, it's the curse of death. That's the reason why we don't carry our beauty. Because Adam and Eve sinned, we don't carry our beauty no more. It's just the way it is. So yeah, and then the final thing he mentioned, when God created humans, he had to be fair. That's not how it works, all right? Because I don't want to talk too much because it's a huge debate in itself. People believe Adam and Eve were black, okay? Me, I don't personally believe that. I believe they were, no. I don't believe Adam and Eve were African, black, and all that stuff. Because, you know, where else white people will come from, all right? If Adam and Eve were black, where do white people come from? They're not alien, all right? All defects and stuff like that. Okay, look, it doesn't matter whether you believe Adam and Eve or a biracial couple or a monoracial couple. I can back it up. So it just goes back into that. So I guess I'm gonna conclude from there. So God was not being, he made everything fair in the beginning. He made everything fair by making them perfectly spotless. Adam and Eve very spotless or whatever. But when Adam and Eve sinned, that's what screwed everything up. So you have to really blame the sin. All right, time for you to go, boy, because I need to conclude the video. You have to blame the sin. You have to blame the sin. That's just the way it is. So I guess I'll conclude from there. All right. All I know is, oh boy, you got all this hair on me. All I know is we gotta, you know, serve God, do the best we can, you know, accept Jesus Christ, our personal Lord and Savior, and then, you know, we'll live a long, fulfilling life. You know, yes, looks fade. Women, you're beautiful either way. You know, just don't get fat, okay? Because yeah, don't get fat. Same for you men. We are beautiful. Us male and female. We are made in the image of God, okay? We're made in the image of God. So we need to really take care of ourselves because our bodies are temporary. Yes, it's temporary. Yes, we're scheduled to die, but it's just the way it is. So Adam and Eve screwed up. They made their decisions. We need to make ours. Okay? So otherwise, That's my comments or whatever of this video or whatever. Huge credit to Chinese historian because I really like his content. I did not expect this video is gonna be too long. So yeah. Besides, this is take 2 anyway. Take 1 I recorded some time ago, but lost all the footage. But otherwise, thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe.